One of the most common tasks that people want to do in Photoshop is to cut out the background of a photo. So in this example, the foreground or the model here is pretty much delineated from the background. So this is the kind of photo that you want to use unless you want to spend a lot more time making a selection. So go ahead and open up a photo, and you need something where the person has a definite difference from the background. So here the only problem that might arise is right here where it has a white background and then the white shirt. So we'll check that out and make sure the selection is accurate. There's a couple different ways to do this, but there is a best way to do this, and I'm going to go over the difference. So I open up a JPEG here, and by default it has a background locked layer. First thing we want to do is make a selection. So for this one, if you click and hold, you can see this quick selection tool or magic wand. Let's choose the quick selection tool or press W on the keyboard. And we can either select her or select the area around her. So I'm going to just select the area around her, and it should pretty much figure out, and you'll notice right here up at the top we have the plus selected, so it's adding to the selection. And you'll notice right here it messed up, it selected too much. So hold down Alt on the PC or Option on the Mac and click, and then just click without holding anything down if you want to add to it. Oops. So something like, let's see if there's any other areas. If this was a lot of hair coming out, we'd have to do refine edge, but with their hair up like that, it's more of a straight edge there. So I think that's a pretty good selection. And if you want to check out, I have other tutorials on more advanced selections, but for this tutorial, that's pretty good. So what we want to do is, I'm going to Alt click or Option click right there as well. All right. What we want to do is go ahead and, there's a couple different ways we can do this. We've selected everything but her, right? So if you're not familiar with masking, you might think we double click the background layer and click OK. So now that the pixels we can delete, and then just press backspace or delete, and then we delete the pixels. The problem is this is destructive editing. We can't adjust it after the fact unless we go back in the history panel and go back a couple steps. So I'm going to press Control or Command Z, or just go back in the history panel back to where we just have a selection, nothing's deleted. Another way to do this is if you go to Select and then Inverse, and that's going to select everything but the background. So now it selects her instead of the backgrounds. Then press Control J on the PC or Command J on the Mac. And you'll notice, hit the eye icon to toggle the visibility of the original layer. And now we do have her on a invisible background or transparent. So you could place this onto a InDesign file as a PSD and have a transparent background. You could save, you could go to File, Save for Web, and save it as a PNG or a GIF or a GIF. And then you would have a transparent background if you wanted to put it on a web page. The problem though is we can't adjust it after the fact. So I'm going to go to Edit, Undo, and we have her selected still. This is the best way to do it. All right, I was just showing some other ways to do it, but this is the best way, is with her selected. So whatever you want to be visible and not masked out, make sure it is selected. Then on the bottom of the layers panel, you'll see this Add Layer Mask icon. Click that, and it adds a mask to the layer. And what that does is it masks out, or it's another word for erasing, but it's not destructive erasing. And the cool thing about this, if you hold down Alt on the PC or Option on the Mac and click the mask, you can see the mask here. And then Alt click it again. The cool thing about this is you can choose a soft edge brush or a hard edge brush, depending on what kind of edge you want. Press D on the keyboard, it'll set the foreground to white, background to black. And then choose a soft edge brush up here. I'm going to make it a little bit larger. And you can press the left and right brackets on the keyboard as well, and that'll change the size of the brush as we paint. And what we need to do is press X on the keyboard, and that'll flip the foreground and background. And you'll see, let's just say the edge just wasn't perfect in one area. What you can do, press X so that the foreground's white. That'll add 2. See, that's adding 2 that area of white on the mask, which it brings that layer back. If you press X again, toggles so that the foreground's black, or you can just click on it and select black, of course. And you just paint, and then it masks out the area. So wherever you paint black on the mask, it will mask out. Wherever you paint white, it will bring the pixels back. So by default, it was pretty good, but if you just saw an edge that wasn't perfect, let's just say on the edge here, you saw an area that you needed to adjust a little bit better, you could use different selection techniques or different brushes, but the idea is that you paint black in, it'll mask out, paint white in, and it'll bring it back in. So that's the best way to remove a background in Photoshop.